Hello folks, this is Steve AB for you. I've been showing you a little bit of the approach. This is Franklinville. Now the water pipeline is going to be coming, and it actually zigzags down this to the 64. And the reason for that is, according to the route map, is so that it wouldn't go directly through, quote, 64 US 64 in Ramseur. And it's supposed to have been, or is routed along this road. I'm looking to see if they're in progress. See, there's a marking there. Or if they've yet to do it. When I talked with a guy 2 days ago, sort of had the feeling that some of it may already have been. There's the survey mark. You see the yellow arrow in the road. That was the served as another mark there. Mark there. Paint mark. There's the survey arrow, paint mark. When I say survey arrow, I mean they drove a pin into the asphalt and they put a permanent, there they go again, paint mark across the road. So they're prepping this, paint mark, arrow. So this definitely is the route. This road is the route. Paint mark, probably what those are, arrow, probably what those are is where the fiber crosses the road underneath. Paint mark, arrow. Yeah, this is the route. There's nobody behind me. Paint mark. So it's going to be on paint mark. It's going to be on the, for the way we're facing, the right-hand side of the road. Now we're going into Ramseur. We're seeing more paint mark on the road ahead, right here. This is Jones Street. Then I'm pretty certain that I'm supposed to turn left. I'm looking for traffic. I'm okay. If I've guessed correctly, okay, the paint mark is over here. I'm scouting. There's a paint mark here and over on the left in the grass. I saw on the map there was one unusual zigzag. There's a survey stick there that's fresh, and this is Dixon. And there's a survey mark to the right there. You see it in the road? There's nobody behind me. Now oh, I see what it is. I got it. See, I'm trying to figure out the route without a map. If there's a survey mark here, and that looks like a dead end, we have a street called Megan. Let's test this one and see if there's a survey arrow along here. If not, I'll go down the other one. But why would they put it up here unless this is the routing. We have to get to the deep river. All right, I don't see any paint marks here. But I'll bet you anything the deep river's down there. So let's scout the other way. Let's retrace. All right, this is Taylor Court, and it's a court means it's a dead end. So we're back to this street. Not likely to be there, even though the survey market is here. Alright, so we'll follow it down Dixon, which heads us back towards Ramseur. There's a nice Chevy over there. Paint, paint, paint. This is the route. There's the paint. They've been surveying here. And it goes to the right, which is a dead end, but they may just be mapping it out. So let me turn around. We're exploring. We're a pathfinder, like the Old West. For whatever reason, they did the surveying down there. Fresh stakes there. No traffic coming. A brook here that would run down into the deep river. We got chickens in the road. I grew up with chickens. I grew up with chickens. As a kid, I used to go feed the chickens. Something leftovers from the Second World War. That's how you got your eggs. All right, so we have to go to the right. Do we even remember where we are? Okay, there's a survey mark to the left. And the thing the guy told me was that out toward the county line, yes, the pipe goes under the highway, switches sides of the highway several times. Okay, here we go. This is where it will cross the deep river. You can say, but it's a dead end. I don't know if you can see how far down it is. I think you can probably see the deep river down there. This is where it's going to cross. This cul-de-sac. It might be that they're going to build their own bridge to get it across, as opposed to trying to string it under the bridge that exists one street up. Okay, the survey mark told us that this is where it's going to jump the river. And it's evident that it hasn't been laid yet. That's part of why I'm exploring. Now, we have to get to the other side. So even though we seem to have gone down country roads, side roads, we may have been actually so now we want to go down. All right, that's Leonard Park over there. Okay, here we go. This is Brooklyn Avenue. I can think of why they may not have wanted to jump the river along this road, and I'll tell you why. You saw where we were doing an overlook, right? Now the bridge is about 50 feet, 40 to 50 feet. You can see the river down there to the right. What used to be over there to the right 100 years ago? The original bridge. Let me show you what I'm talking about. We're going to pull in right here. I've shown you this in other videos, and under my good cousin, my good twins. All right, now, looking straight ahead. Do you see the road on the other side? That's where we came down to the, quote, cliff side to the river. And how do I know about this? Because if you were to walk over the edge here and walk down a bit, you would find the piers for the old bridge that used to go across here and connect to the road over there. Got it? This is not the first time I've been here, folks. Now, down that, you can get down along the river there for fishing. So this machine is for what? It's for boring to put fiber in. They've got it parked here. Remember when it came to my neighborhood? Now I'm going to remind you where I am. I'm in Ramseur. Now this has been cleared away recently. Down at the end of this, there used to be a big mill right by the river. I've made a video where I've gone down there and showed you the foundation that was still down there. This brick building, it was the cotton warehouse. Pardon me. And right by the pier side of the building was the end of the railroad, and just ahead was a round table where once they came with a freight train down here, they could turn the engine. There was more than one track. The round table was a bit to the right. They would switch the engine over to that. They would get the engine on the round table, and they would manually push the round table. I've seen one in up north when I was a kid in Cub Scouts. Turn the engine around, because this is where the rail line ended. This building here was the cotton warehouse for the textile mills, and the reason why today the road goes straight up the grade, as I've told you in other videos, is because today vehicles can make it up that hill. But in the old days, when you had horse and wagon, horse and cart, they had to choose a way of getting up the hill that was more roundabout, so that the horse's hooves wouldn't keep slipping. If you've never seen horses' hooves slipping, and I saw it in North Africa, trying to pull a heavily loaded wagon up a grade less than that, and the guy was beating the hell out of the horses to keep them going. That was in Algeria. So the road used to go this way, the river's to the right, and this is how you get up into Main Street in town. So we want to go to the right, because the pipeline is going to come across the river, and there's markings over to the right. There's markings here. I believe this is Church Street. I could be wrong. So there was a storm drain going down to the deep river to our right. There's a road down to the river. There's bananas. I've worked in banana plantation in Israel. And there's a sign there to the left that says trespassers will be shot on sight. Just let you know where we are. Beware, guard dog on duty. And there's a sign there with a pistol. I think he's trying to get a message across. And I said I thought this was Church Street. We're going to find out. Now look at the columns on this house to the left. Do you think a rich person lived in there? And I can tell by the style of the house, it's called a dog run house. The front of the house was the living room and the dining room. The bedrooms were directly above it, and then there was the kitchen preparation area at like a hut on the back, and then you had to go out the back door and about 30 feet to where the hearth was, where you did the cooking. And why did they do that? So the building wouldn't catch on fire while they were asleep from embers. It's called a dog run style architecture. Somebody's got a bus there. Why would they have a bus? And here comes the church. The front of the church is facing out this way. So could this be Church Street? The cemetery's to the left. First Christian Church. Now that's a new impression. So it used to have a different name. That's what I think. I think this church used to have a different name, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look it up in the history. It's a beautiful building. Beautiful building. This facility is monitored by cameras and a security team. Got parking for, now this is off the topic, but folks, parking for Rebecca Rogan. I know somebody with a similar name. Parking for Vivian Maness only. They must do something special at the church. That's their reserved parking spots. There's no street sign right here. And I think we want to go to the right for a moment. I don't know if I've ever been down this before. Where we just came out of, I have been. Yeah, boys. Yeah, we go, boys. That tree is old. Something happened to the road on the left. It's a dead end in front of us. Oh, we got it. Okay, we got it. Ahead of us is a dead end. And we just came off of Ridge Road. And that is the Pipeline Road. We're exploring, folks. Why do they have these cones here? What have they been prepping? That's the deep river straight ahead. That's a dead end down there. Let me go into the shade so you can see it. There's nobody behind me. You see the dead end down there? Do you see the road sign? Maybe the road goes around and that's the, wait a minute, it says go around the corner. Hang on, we're exploring. Narrow road ahead is what that sign. See, that comes up from to the left comes up from the deep river. That's where it's going to cross the river. It's going to come up that. Okay, the trash pickup truck comes this way. The trash pickup truck comes this way, and it's a big fall off to the left because that's either the deep river or something that joins the deep river. And people live here. I think this is the first time I've been on this road. Oh boy. It may be no more than the second time, I assure you. Okay, this was the road off to the right that we saw a few moments ago. Okay, somebody wants to go there. Very good. And I'm trying to make a turn without bumping anything. And let me do this. And then let me do this. Remember, we have to make a left. Now we want to get back to Ridge Road because the pipeline runs along Ridge Road. Remember, we were just this way a few moments ago. Now think of the terrain and the fact that we're near the deep river, and you can see the reason why it's called the deep river is because in some places it's way down, which is from the once every 100-year flood over millions of years in the Piedmont of North Carolina. Literally over millions of years. The Cretaceous formed the inland sea. There was an inland sea. Now we want to turn left this time. from the outer islands of what is today North Carolina all the way to western Colorado, and it was about 3 to 6 feet deep, which is why places like Iowa and Kansas are flat. It was a shallow sea bottom. And then the continent had to rise to cut off the sea. All right, we're off of West Ridge. This is West Ridge Road. We're at Coleridge Road, which means if we turn right, we would get down to Coleridge and continue to Bennett. Or we want to go across, continuing on Ridge Road. I'm remembering the map now. Either they've already laid the pipe or they're preparing. Look at the right-hand side of the road. Either they've already laid the pipe or they're preparing. If you look to the right, are they burying the pipe down there? Are they burying the pipe down there? That's the pipe. Thank you. Okay, you can see them working down there. Now we know where the pipe has gotten to. We can't go to the right because it says dead end. This is York Street, and we're looking for, I don't think that's a street going out. Let's get down here. I think we want to look for Elam Street. I think we want to look for Elam Street. This sign is too big. This is Coleridge Road. Okay, we go to the right. This is the fire department. Headed into there is Ramseur. No street sign on the corner. Shady Drive, Stewart, but no sign for what this road is. They're showing us the side roads. The one to the right here is a quote dead end. It is, I can see it. This is Oak, Friendship Independent Church. You see, I'm exploring, folks. Friendship Independent Church is to the right. think I've heard of them once before. And this is a dead end too. Okay. Oh, not quite. I think we got to where we want to be. Okay. Why do you think there's a detour here? If we went to the right, we would be going over to where they're burying the pipe, something like that. We're exploring, folks. Brookview. Trying to get the name of this street. Can't see it. Alright, this is a... See, they didn't say dead end. All these little cul-de-sac neighborhoods are beautiful. They're beautiful. You should live here. So we saw the... I've seen it one other time, the French Independent Church. Yeah, they got that road blocked off because that gets to where they're doing the pipeline. This is Kimray and Brookville. Kimray we're turning onto. This is definitely the first time I've been on Kimray. Curtis. I'm looking up there, I don't see anything. Weatherly. I'm going to take a chance and go left. Okay, that's about it. Except, I want to catch it from the other end. And I'll tell you what that means. Alright, this is Columbia. Don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. There we go. Yeah, 64 is right up here. I think we want to go one or two streets to the right. This is 64. We go straight ahead, that would be Sandy Creek Church on the Sandy Creek, which becomes Ramseur Lake, which then on the other side flows down into the Deep River. Okay, we want to go to the right. And we want Elam. Broad. Kimray, that's what we were on. I bet you this is Elam. No, this is United Healthcare. Hang on. It's going to come along 64 and then at Elam it's going to turn and go down Elam right here. And there's markings in the road on 64 and the pipeline will go along this road and somehow join to Ridge Road with one or two wigwags. See the survey mark there? Marking here. When I say survey mark, I meant survey arrow, yellow arrow. Somebody's been marking there. Elam should make a right. Big country estate to the left. Survey mark right there in the road at Curtis. That's the survey arrow. The pipeline will be coming here. So they can build different sections of the pipeline. They don't have to build it in one continuous spurt. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What are we seeing to the left? What are we seeing to the left? What are we seeing to the left? There's nobody behind me. What are we seeing to the left? We're seeing a bunch of pipes that look like they are 24 inches instead of 21. So we found some of the pipe in preparation. This is Elam or Ridge. Road work ahead. Okay, we finally found the other side of what we saw. Remember when the guy was doing the little thing back and forth? Remember the crane down there? Do you see the way it looks to the right where they've dug it out? I'm not going to go much closer. That means they've been laying pipe here. And as a matter of fact, I'll pretend I live here. Can you see the piece of pipe right there? Can you see the workman's shade? Can you see another piece of pipe further down? They're laying the pipe along this road. Now, all right, I found it from the other end. I tried to trace it from where it would snake around Ramseur. You see, they've already buried the pipe on the left side, or that's prepared to be buried. They have a temporary storage spot for pipe up here on the right. We can see that there's a water main here for fire hydrants. And the pipe is made by some company called American. And those other packages, I'll bet, are the seals. I'm just guessing. There's nobody behind me. And those look like they're 2 foot rather than 21. Yeah, because the original announcement was 21. And then I read that they were going to make the pipe a little bit bigger because there were other people that wanted dibs. And you can tell that where you got cranes and stuff like that, this flag right here says overhead power lines. They're constantly reminding people that when you're working with a crane, don't rip what's above you. The pipeline will follow down to here. The side street is Curtis. This road is Elam. Elam has a dog leg in it. I don't know why it's doing that. This is Elam, and Elam ends up at US 64. So the pipeline will arrive to the east side of Ramseur and make a 90-degree turn into Elam. It will follow Elam and then ridge till it gets to the Deep River. Then it will cross the Deep River, and then I believe it will follow Jones until the Jones gets back close to 64, and then it'll make another sort of 90-degree turn for a short distance to get onto 64, and then continue along the south side of 64 until it comes past my crossroad. So Elam is directly across from the sandwich shop. So what you see now is the route that the pipeline is not taking. Even though it came for miles and miles and miles along this road, for Ramseur, it's taking a snake around. And there may have been cost and structural problems along this business section of 64, which is, quote, in town. I know that Main Street is just a little thing, but just like Business 64 in Asheboro, this is all built up. And there might have been too much stuff to step on to run the pipeline along this road, either side. So they decided to go through your neighborhood instead, and then get back on 64 after you get past Ramseur and just when you touch Franklinville. And I'm going to keep the camera going until we get to where it rejoins 64. But I've got to open the windows because it's hot in here. So this is the part of Ramseur that it's skipping. And then if I wanted to go to Ramseur Lake at the lights, I would take a right. Actually, I would take a right just before the light, coming up right now. Now remember, we're going to be continuing, and just ahead, this is Franklinville now. To the right is where the people that give me my winter gas to heat my house. Now we're in Franklinville, right now, and we could go down to the Deep River by turning in. Here's the Deep River. This is the bridge over the Deep River. So the pipeline will have crossed the Deep River down far to the left, and then it will have come out just up ahead on the left. I'm going to circle back to where we began. And coming up at the light, is where the pipeline coming from Jones Road up there on the left, just immediately to the left, will snake down to 64 here, will join, get back to 64 here, over on the other side, and they will be laying the pipe along that side of the road, all the way down to my crossroad and beyond. So I've taken you through a big loop, tracking the path, diversionary path of the water pipeline. Steve AB40 out, sweating like hell in this 95-degree temperature, saying see you at 73.